My name is Shane East, and I'm the CEO and founder of Kheiron. We build video games that save lives. So we came up in the safety training business in the oil field and marine industries, and we saw that there was a real need for new training materials for online training. So we started building custom content and subscription content for training in those markets. And we saw that everybody was using PowerPoints and using videos, and we said video games would be much more fun to use. So we're looking for a $300,000 investment for 20% of our company. And you can see from the graph what we're going to be using that money for. Most of it's for development, product development. The rest is for marketing and for project management. So these are the companies that we've already started working for in the last 8 months or so that we've been doing the kite development. As you can see, some pretty big names, right? Shell, Carnival Cruise Lines. In the pipeline for next year, and it's only fourth quarter this year, we've got $1.5 million lined up. That's if we don't sell a dime from here on out. And once they're in the pipeline, we have a 90% close rate. So as you can see, we run about 65% profit margins on the content that we build right now. And as we move into 2018, we're looking at companies that are very similar to the companies that we're doing business with right now as targets. And then after we develop our subscription content, we're going to focus on smaller companies, marine companies, where we can resell the same content over and over and over again. Just to give you an idea what the subscription market looks like, for the 4 content libraries that we're building, it's about an $18 million market. A little bit about us. My partner and I, Jason, are both prior service military guys, so we have a tremendous amount of military management experience, project management experience. We've both been in the oil field, so we have a tremendous amount of training experience in the oil field and the marine industries. And to give you an idea of what our competition looks like. Right now, it's in classroom training, so kind of what you're doing right now. I know this is a little bit more entertaining than the average class you go to, but typically about 30, 45 minutes into an 8-hour training day, you're ready to shoot yourself. And I know because I teach some of those classes. And it's just as bad on the teaching side, I get it. And then on the CBT side, who's ever taken training, computer-based training? Okay, so it's either PowerPoint slides or it's videos, right? You press play, you turn around, you're looking at your email, you go in and grab a cup of coffee, you come back, you answer a question maybe or something, you press play again, you walk in and do the other thing. Our content, you can't do that. With video games, you have to play the video game. It won't play itself. So you're forced to walk around and do the content. Shane East from Kheiron. Thank you.
Good job. Very impressive. So I guess my question, I'm really kind of hungry for finding out what this video games are like, the content. Can you describe it?
Okay, so we basically hire video game developers that don't know anything about oil field or marine industry at all. And we have our subject matter expertise in-house, and we just took the same game content that your kids or that you play on your mobile device or on your computer, and we just made content out of it that you can use for learning. So basically, any video game you've seen out there, we're either building something like it, or we're working on planning on building something like it.
So does that educate the end user completely, or is there like an introduction and a, you know what I'm saying?
Our goal is to build every amount, basically anything you've ever seen on a PowerPoint slide, we build into the content. We get away completely from videos and PowerPoint slides.
And how do you distribute them?
So we have a couple. With the custom content, if a company already has their own learning management system in-house, we just give them the content, they hang it on their own LMS. If it's a smaller company, let's say they have 100 or 200 employees, we build the content on our own learning management system, and they just pay for a seat, pay for a license. So for the subscription content, generally, depending on the number of employees in the company, ranges from $50 to about $150 a person for the 20-class subscription content. And then we can do specific classes that are for pay-per-view. So
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So from hardware's perspective, so I call you up and say, I want this training program. Do I have to buy a specific piece of hardware, some joysticks and some, is it just, can I just use my laptop at the office?
Thanks for that question, because that's one of the ways we differentiate ourselves. There are a lot of people out there building content that requires special hardware, headsets. Everybody's seen VR training or AR training. specific joysticks or something like that. And there's a lot of companies that are trying to sell the hardware too. We built everything with the oil field in mind and with the marine content, with the marine environment in mind. So it runs on a laptop because everybody's got a laptop now. And if they don't have the laptop for the guy in the field, their supervisor has a laptop. So when they're trying to catch up with training and keep up with training, they can just log onto the laptop and do the training. It'll run on any machine that's out there. That's one of the reasons we keep the graphics so simple. I see the picture's a little blurry there. It's not quite that blurry when you're playing it. But we keep the graphics very simple for that reason.
A couple of questions. First is, so your delivery's over the web, or is it like client?
It depends. So if it's the subscription content,
Yeah.
it can be over the web or it can be client-based, depending on how the company wants to set it up. But most of our stuff's web portal-based. And if it's custom content, like they can either
You can
distribute
give
it
it
by
to them on
thumb drive
something.
or yeah, correct.
And is this more effective or less effective? Can you kind of speak to the effectiveness of this type of training versus traditional, kind of the different types of training? It's a setup here. It's a setup here, right?
They're just feeding right into it. It's awesome. Typically, as you know, you sit in a classroom, you're going to retain between 25 to 30% of what you hear, because you just can't pay attention, for the entire class. If you're doing typical PowerPoint or video, you're going to retain a little bit more. With the e-learning content, with the video game content, you retain about 40% better than you would with a PowerPoint or a video. And the research, actually LSU did a grad school project on it, where they compared PowerPoint slide, typical computer-based training with video game training, and that's where we got our data. It was 40% better information retention.
Okay, this is the third part of my two-part question.
All right.
Let me see if I can't quite read my handwriting. Competition. So it seems like you guys are really on the kind of bleeding edge of this stuff right now. And so you've got an advantage window right now. I assume that there's some pretty large players that could enter the space quickly. Maybe you can kind of comment on that.
So we're about a year ahead, it seems like. All of our customers are telling us we're the first company that they've seen that does the curriculum development the way we do. There are some huge players that are trying to develop gaming for training, but they're all focused on the hardware-heavy equipment. Everybody wants to be on the front end of technology. The latest HoloLens, the latest this, that, but you need $3,000 worth of hardware to do any of the training. And we're just kind of sneaking in under the radar. Like, our goal is just to replace PowerPoints on a laptop, and nobody else is trying to do that. Maybe a year, 2, 3 years from now, after the subscription content's out there and it's being sold, I have a feeling we'll have some people, sneaking up and trying to copy what we're doing. But we're going to focus, the majority of our energy is going to be focused on the marketing piece, and we're already doing business with the big players in the market. I mean, once Shell says they're doing it, everybody else kind of falls in line. For instance, Exxon and Chevron, they both do their production safety training with Shell. And the first app that we built for Shell was production safety training. So we've already, without even talking to them, Chevron's already using this app, Exxon's already using this app, and Bessie, who sets all the compliance for all these guys federally, is using this app. So we knew if we focused on the big players in the market, that it would be easy to propagate that throughout and catch all the follow-on work.
Great job.
Thank you.